Hi, guys. Welcome back. All right, so let's do a little touch base on possibly love, but we're going to keep this as more of a kind of an open message here, and we'll keep in mind any signs and symbols. I haven't done one of those in a while, um, just because everything's been crazy lately. But I would like to get back to that. So we have a King of Cups, we have Temperance, and we have the Chariot. Okay, that actually looks amazing. Rocking a court card and two major arcana. So this is big stuff, right? We have a King of Cups who I think knows where his heart is. This is somebody, especially with this sense of peace and harmony, he could be feeling the feels for a Sagittarius feminine, somebody that he sees like in his mind eye with the wind in her hair. There's something about the wind and about the sense of freedom. All three of these cards, here he's at the ocean first. She may be also, since we do have what seems to be seagulls out behind her, and then we've got somebody who's mountain biking, and we kind of see mountains, but then also the horizon of the sea off in the distance, I think. um, all of this just looks like a huge sense of outdoor freedom, sunlight. All of this energy looks really positive. Like his heart is soaring. And I feel like it's because of her. Whatever has happened here, he's got some kind of, on one hand, he feels youthful, even if he's not. There's something about her that makes him feel really youthful and really quite energized. I feel like this is somebody who's like, I could climb mountains for you. I could, I would want to maybe even truly fall in love. This could be somebody that's an old soul. This King of Cups could be an old soul. He may have like a real love for like being very well dressed, tailored clothes, a little bit on the flashy side, but in both cases, both times that we've seen he does have sunglasses on, right? And it just makes me think that either she's the only one who doesn't, and I can't help but think she is so bright he practically needs sunglasses around her. Six of Cups, the Moon, the Magician. Okay, so he's dazzled by something that she has done in her own life. I don't know that I think he's seen her in a while, um, or she hasn't seen him in a while, since he's the one incognito with the sunglasses on. He may have been keeping tabs on her. This is somebody that he feels is like a part of his soul, a soulmate, right? With that Six of Cups. He may have known her for quite some time, or again, she brings up inspiration of him, or within him, she brings up some kind of like, I'll just say like some feeling of like youthful vitality. But she doesn't even know any of this. Every time we see her, it seems like she's busy. She's busy creating things. She's busy, being a master manifester. And with the moon card here, it's like she has no idea that his mind has still been on her, or that he's impressed by her, inspired by her, feeling like she's definitely touched his heart, right? But as a soulmate energy, like he can't wait to see her again. She's very important to him. Why? Why are you so important to him? By the way, he could have possibly two dogs. We have a black dog and a white dog. We have like a lab and possibly like an Aussie. Um, but there's this sense of like freedom, and I feel like she smells really good. Like she may smell like the outdoors to him as well. Ace of Wands is sideways. He loves her laugh. He loves to see her happy. I can't help but think at one point in time he might have made her very happy, and he remembers that. He remembers being the reason that her eyes lit up. There's definitely some kind of energy where once upon a time she was passionate about him, and he like revels in that memory. So wait a second. If you revel in the memory of once upon a time she was delighted to see you, why is it that you have to be a returning soulmate in her life, right? Why are you not with her? We have a 10 of Swords. We have the Nine of Pentacles in the reverse. Things ended. I obviously, Ten of Swords, things ended badly and pretty permanently, because we got a feminine getting a tattoo here. I don't know what happened that made her feel not very like respected, or maybe not very good about herself. She could have gone through some significant ups and downs. I'm picturing somebody who was like flying high. She could have had a high powered job. She may have traveled a lot. I just say that because she's at like a very fancy winery. Maybe she owned a business, but she had the money to do the things that she wanted to. But she could have gone through some pretty big upheavals in her life as a whole. I almost feel like everything shifted and changed for her. She could have one loss after another, from career path to, job loss, or relationships associated like with colleagues and such. And then also this relationship somehow came to a grinding halt. How? Why? Six of Swords. It's like they both moved on from each other, or maybe they both went through the same upheavals at the same time. They're both on the same like little kayak or paddle board here, but it's like both people had to like move on to calmer waters in their personal lives, and they went silent on each other. I feel like this was two people both going silent. Now he really retreated into himself. He could be a Virgo, doesn't have to be, but he kind of withdrew. I almost feel like he's been, for a period of time anyway, he was quite bitter, but he also may have gone through a significant loss, and ended up just like taking care of his own needs, but also doing some deep thinking. Like, he may like the outdoors and spend more time, trying to like contemplate life. He maybe needed to clear his mind, clear his soul a little bit after her, but it didn't clear out thoughts of her. Instead, he became more convinced, but she was my Four of Wands. Here I am, very utterly alone, but once upon a time, like, she was passionate about me. I put a smile on her face. I was insanely passionate about her. And then all because life gives us upheavals, then somehow we lost this good thing that we had. And as he withdraws, instead of like forgetting about her or moving on in life, he starts to like do that deep sense of self-awareness that he's like, but that was the person that I could have had it all with. That was the person I should have leaned toward, not leaned away from. Four of Cups, God, he's had a lot of time to think about this and reflect on it. And Four of Cups is very bummed out. Yeah, I really feel like he's been pretty isolating and keeping to himself quite a lot, and just getting his thoughts, not organized exactly, but like sifting through his thoughts for some time now. I feel like he's come to some conclusions, that's for sure. We've got the Three of Pentacles sideways. This is like, I never should have walked away. I never should have let her go, especially if we somehow broke up because times were difficult. That's when we should have leaned together and we could have been successful together. Look, I don't know. Maybe this was like, 2020, and it was like, okay, well, I guess we're, in separate places, and we're staying in separate places, and we're not going to see each other anymore. It's like they let a relationship slip away, but it was during a time when they could have really built together instead of, leaning away from one another. All I can say is that there were relationships ending, there was huge upheaval, and for whatever reason, it was like, okay, well, I guess we're done. It's almost like these two weren't going to have an easy time seeing each other anymore, so they just let this whole thing go. Let me ask, did she want to let this go? I mean, this is like such a bright spot for him, certainly. When I say, did she want to let this go, we actually have the Six of Wands upright. Hang on. Want to let this go, and it says no, she wanted this back. She too thought about marriage with this person. She thought of them as, maybe she thought it was only going to be a little brief time that they were apart. This feels like she thought he needed to get some kind of empowerment going for himself, and then was hoping that these two would have come back together. Certainly somewhere in the not too distant future. But why the Six of Wands? Why is the Six of Wands there? We see a masculine on that card, so that's why I'm saying him. Death card, she thought he had to end something in his life and feel successful, and then he would come back to me. What about you, feminine, being in that Nine of Pentacles in the reverse and the Ten of Swords? Seven of Wands. So she did have upheaval in her life. She had problems to solve. She was kind of in a lone wolf mode. She had a bunch of stuff she had to figure out for herself. Okay, so hang on. Let me go back over to him and say, if she was in, by the way, somebody could have beautiful green eyes, but if she was in lone wolf mode, why did he think, well, she's going through all these, problems and stuff. And so, I guess this is just where we part ways. Why wouldn't you have thought, hey, I need to be there for her if she's going through a tough time? Six of Pentacles, which would have been giving and sharing, but was he giving and sharing elsewhere? Queen of Swords and the Sun. Maybe oh my God, could this have been a massive misunderstanding? Was it like he thought, well, yeah, I thought that's what we were going to do. She was going through a tough time. I thought we could have joined forces. I thought any day now she'll ask me to like come and be with her and I'll be so happy and she'll tell me that she wants me and, we'll be together. Did he want her to say, I could use your help? Please come here and help me. So crazy. He wanted to be asked. And that was his ego. She's got to ask me. If she had called me at any point in time during a difficult phase of her life, I would have come to her aid, but she never did. And I needed her to ask me so that I could come in as the hero. I would have been there for her. I was waiting for her to ask me, but she didn't. That sucks because this is ego. I would have been there for her if she had asked me, but she didn't. I was waiting for the Queen of Swords, and then it would have been so wonderful. And I thought for sure that was the moment she'd tell me, come here. Ace of Swords. Instead, it served to be the sword that cut them apart because she didn't ask. But why didn't you offer to be there for her? King of Wands. Either he's saying I did, or he's saying my heart would have been there in a second. I would have driven to get to her in a minute. I would have. Or he says I did. Five of Wands. I don't think he ever understood her with that Five of Wands. She is somebody who's used to solving all of her own problems. Maybe she's not used to asking for help. He says she made it difficult, or he couldn't read her and what she wanted, or he thought he wouldn't have been welcome or something. Oh my gosh. This is a really tough one because I don't see how that is somebody like, I understand you don't want to push yourself on someone, say, I'm going to come help you. You're in need. But it looks like if he knew that she was going through something difficult, wouldn't you have just offered and said, I don't want you to go through this alone? But instead, it's like he was waiting for her to like reach out. But then it's like he thought, if she doesn't reach out, then I'm not going to come toward her. But then there was that ego in all of that. So you let her go during her time of need instead of offering to be there for her because you wanted her to ask you. But then over time, what you've realized was that was the person I wanted to be with, and that was a huge missed opportunity. So it does feel like we have somebody really lamenting the fact that why didn't I tell her that I wanted to be there for her? Again, the ego, we have the devil. So during a time when maybe they both were, going through big upheaval and stuff, when they most needed each other, ego kept them apart. Tell me about the devil. Seven of Cups. And they both sat there and wondered, will I ever hear from them? She thought, someday they'll come back to me though, right? Someday when they feel better about themselves, then I'll hear from them. So she was over there thinking that they were busy doing whatever they had to do. And she was like wondering, but in the meantime, she had so many other fires of her own to put out. Gosh, this just comes across like, was this a long time ago? Because, he's a lot older here. And is that why it's like all of this clarity now, all of this, like, she's such a bright spot in his memory. But I got to say, this is such a tough story because, no No wonder she's like oblivious to the idea that he still even thinks of her, because he didn't show up during her time of need, from what we can tell, because she didn't ask him to. Universe, do you want to weigh in on this? I feel like we need to step back for just a second and say, okay, we have the Wheel of Fortune. So the universe is like, look, it might only just have now been the right time for these two. Wheel of Fortune is everything. It's all about divine timing. We have Five of Wands and we have that Queen of Swords again. She came out twice as a Libra, Gemini, Aquarius. He came out as a King of Wands, so Leo, Sag, or Aries. He also came out, as that Hermit, so possibly some Virgo. But the universe says, look, it's all about divine timing, okay? That whole concept of like obstacles, overthinking things, being able to communicate truthfully, honestly, maybe not expecting somebody else to know our needs, but rather being able to articulate our needs was important. Magician upright, the ability for somebody to say, but I want to manifest what I want, so I'm going to pursue what I want, instead of egotistically sitting back and waiting for somebody to tell me I should have been pursuing what I wanted. And the universe is like, and for her, hang on, let me go one more time for the Five of Wands and the Queen of Swords. See, we have a Three of Pentacles. The universe is kind of saying to both of them, both of you needed to pursue what you wanted more. You wanted to be with each other, but neither person asked each other. Neither person invited one another. Neither person really advocated for what they most wanted. And that was necessary. If she was like, I don't get, I like to do things on my own, but I actually would like this person back in my life, but I'm not going to say it to him. And then he was over here saying, I want to be with her, but she's not asked me in yet. The universe is like, both people should have advocated more for what they wanted. Let one another know that your energy in my life is what I want. Is there a chance for them at this point? We have the Devil. There's huge, intense passion. That Devil card is like pent up passion, and this could be years of pent up passion. There's also a ton of love. There's some toxicity. There's desire. There's this is a big old, ball of emotions, unfulfilled happiness, things that, it's still very much on the table. I will say, if these two come together, it is going to be some serious, the earth might shake and the universe might create another planet or something, because these two have I'm gonna say years of pent up longing, desire, passion, unspoken, unfulfilled dreams. And if right now this is the time for them to actually go ahead and break this silence and advocate for what they want and start leaning toward each other, there's a lot of hurt feelings, there's a lot of love, there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of desire still here. It kind of seems like there's tenderness and there's also sadness, and all of that could now be addressed. But as far as this goes, look, just because it's the right time does not mean two characters will gravitate back to each other. But with that Six of Cups, and with him focusing on her, and with him, that Chariot says, I got to move toward her. I love her. I love her. I have always loved her. So why did I not move toward her before? Hopefully these two can patch things up. This was a bumpy one for sure. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for giving it a thumbs up and subscribing. Bye.